Welcome to the NFT Lawyer YouTube channel. This is our casting channel for everything having to do with legal issues and NFTs. You can find me, Enrico, at blockchainlawyer.crypto on your Web3 browser. All right, let's get to it. Today's NFT short take is 5 legal tips for brands dropping NFTs. You're going to initially ask yourself, what brands are dropping NFTs? You've certainly heard of Bored Apes and CryptoPunks, but are brands, are big companies really getting involved in non-fungible tokens? Well, the answer might surprise you, and it is a resounding yes. Most of the major brands in the world have either dropped NFTs, are experimenting with NFTs, or have an NFT project on the horizon. These marketing departments at these major brands and their marketing agencies realize that NFTs offer opportunities, marketing opportunities that really have never existed before and are going to help with all sorts of things we're going to talk about today in our, some of the reasons why people do this, but also the legal tips that you're going to want to have in mind if you are a brand, a marketing agency representing brands, or a point person on an NFT project for a brand. And by the way, this is not just for major brands. Big companies, small companies are all taking advantage of NFTs. So you're going to say, wow, this is a pretty significant number of companies who are already in the NFT space. But it's more than just those companies. It's these companies and these companies and these companies. More brands are dropping NFTs every single day. And the brands have more money. They typically have legal teams. So compared to other NFT drops, there tends to be a little bit more attention to the legal issues involving NFT drops for brands. And they are more complex. You have to be thinking about a number of additional issues that someone that wants to simply launch a Bored Ape Yacht Club may not have to think about, because you have a brand, you want to protect that brand, you have brand value, your brand means something specific. So if you're going to attach your brand to an NFT and that NFT gets sold to an unknown third party, how do you control your brand messaging? How do you control the use of that brand? These are issues that some of the other NFT projects don't have to worry about, but you will as a brand. And if you don't have a major legal department, today's show is going to help you at least to do some issue spotting. And what you're going to find is that as we dive into this issue over the coming months, where we talk about brands launching NFTs, the legal issues, we dive into the legal issues that brands face with NFTs, and we're going to really be talking about how do brands go about doing this. So look at, why do brands love NFTs? We've seen the list of brands. The major companies are all getting involved. Why do they love NFTs? Well, that's not today's show. But what you're going to want to do is, of course, subscribe to this channel, ring the notification bell, and as we work through these issues one by one, you as a brand, you as a marketing agency, you as a point person for a brand looking into NFTs are going to be able to follow along, learn the things you need to know from a legal point of view. So look at today's show, right? 5 legal tips for brands launching NFTs. So the goal here is to give you some initial tips. This is going to be a primer, and we're going to dive into these various topics in the coming weeks and months. But the goal here, since we're talking about legal risk, is to reduce your legal risks. But unlike some attorneys who simply want to tell you you can't, I'm going to tell you you can. And we're also going to be talking about creating opportunities for your brand. So yes, contract drafting can limit your liability. It can control your intellectual property. It can do some of these things. But if you properly match your contracts, your 2 NFT contracts that you're going to have to draft, if you can match those to your business model, you're going to actually be using legal to create opportunities in the future. So brand NFT tip number 1, and this is pretty fundamental, right? But it is something that you really need to think about, and it is kind of overwhelming in the NFT space, which is identify your initial goals. There are so many different things you can do with NFTs as a brand, as a marketing agency representing brands. There's so many possibilities. We'll be diving into what some of the brands that we saw in the previous slides, what are their NFT projects? What are their goals? What are they trying to do? And you have to have something very specific. It can't simply be launch an NFT. Some of these brands are trying to create a brand experience. So they're engaging with people to create an experience that's memorable. Many of the brands, most of the brands are definitely trying to create brand awareness. So getting themselves out there, press releases, creating a press event, because anything that has crypto or NFT attached to it, it's going to get headlines. And then, of course, to build loyalty, which is going to be a common theme you're going to be hearing about in the coming months, is you can build a community using NFTs that's much stronger than an email marketing list, that's much more interactive, that's much more invested. So community building and interaction is often a brand goal in their NFT drops. And of course, you could actually use NFTs to sell real world products and services or online products and services. So NFTs have that ability to actually sell products, to integrate and sell services. They can be NFT tickets, which get you into events or get you access to different things, and can be sold to third parties. And we'll be talking about how brands do those projects. And of course, a big one is brands are trying to integrate with the metaverse games. That's especially in the fashion industry, where you have huge brands like Nike who are creating digital versions of their famous shoes, which can be bought and used with an avatar or NFT, like a Bored Ape wearing Air Jordans, right? So you can buy that digital shoe and then you can put it on your Bored Ape, and then you can enter a metaverse and show off, I have Air Jordans on my avatar. And you probably aren't going to be surprised, or maybe you will, the NFT version of real world products like Nike shoes typically sell for much, much more than a Nike shoe, because you could buy lots of Air Jordans and they keep coming. There's more and more and more of them. There's no scarcity. There's really no scarcity. If you can pay for them, you can buy them. With NFTs, you can create 1,000 or 500 or 5 or 1 and create scarcity, which drives value. All right. Again, I want to remind you, these are legal tips. So brand legal NFT tip number 2, and this is an important one, is you have to protect your intellectual property, right? Which is your brand value, which is the logo, the name, which is the copyrighted image. All of these things are intellectual property, and you are going to have to use your digital asset copyright contract in order to control and protect your brand. And think about it this way. When it's a branded NFT, where your brand is actually going on the image or in the video, or you personally, if you happen to be Snoop Dogg, are going to be in the video that is the NFT, you certainly don't want that being affiliated with hate or discrimination or war or death, or being attached to imagery that no one else would want their brand attached to. So you're going to have contracts that you're going to develop around this to be able to protect your IP. Also, your project name is also potentially a trademark. So when you create a listing page in OpenSea or whatever platform you're going to be using, whatever you put as the name of the original project owner, which is going to then mint or upload the NFTs into the marketplace, that could be a trademark. You want to make sure that that trademark is available, doing a trademark availability search, and then if so, register that trademark so that you can protect it, because copycats in the NFT game are everywhere. Okay, next one. Your NFT buyer contracts must include IP protection terms. We talked about that. And look, we don't really see this much, but it should be part of any branded NFT, which is a clawback of the NFT, part of the smart contract, so that if there's a breach of one of your contracts that, for instance, limits the use of the branded NFT in ways that are going to make sure you don't affiliate it with Hitler, right? How do you take that NFT back off the immutable blockchain where ownership is protected on the blockchain and can only be transferred? Well, you can build into your smart contract, not through OpenSea, but if you build your own smart contract, your token contract, you could bake whatever software and intelligence into that contract you want, including a model which allows you either a unilateral right to pull back that NFT from the current owner for breach of the contract, or to put some sort of dispute resolution to give you the right to challenge the ownership of that IP and pull it back if there is a finding in your direction. Lots of issues here. This is really interesting stuff because most of the things that we're talking about lawyers have never had to think about before and are going to upset the legal industry in ways that are no different than every other industry. Brand NFT legal tip number 3. And we talked a little bit about token contract options. You're going to find out there's 2 contracts involved in NFT sales or transactions, at least 2. But the first one is the easy one. It's the smart contract. It's the token contract that goes onto the blockchain that's got the intelligence, the software, if-then code built into the contract that's self-executing, right? No third party, no lawyers. The contract is going to execute the transaction, transfer ownership to the next owner without having to deal with anyone else. The actual token contract handles all of that. So that's why it's decentralized, and that is why there is no third party standing between you and people who want to buy your token, and between the people who buy your token and the people they want to transfer that token to. So your token contract options are going to be off the shelf or create your own, meaning you can have someone program, you draft the contract in the blockchain world. You have to program that token, which means create the if-then scenarios for things like ownership, transfer of ownership. All of that's pretty off the shelf. But if you want to claw back on your token, you're going to have to create your own token contract and your own software code in order to provide the methodology by which you are going to pull back that token. You can include all kinds of things in that contract, but you do have to know at this point, probably for the next 6 or 8 months, the more code you put into that smart contract, into the token contract, the more the transaction and gas fees are going to be. Those costs are going to come down at least 1,000-fold by the end of this year, so you'll be able to have much more complex token contracts placed on the blockchain. All right, so we talked about reversing the transaction for breach. So that wraps up tip number 3. Let's go to tip number 4, linked digital asset contract. Well, I guess I'm letting the cat out of the bag because you're finding that one of the things that I'm doing is helping the blockchain community, the smart contract community, develop terminology to go with these NFT drops, because right now the terminology is upside down, backwards, makes no sense, inconsistent, and inaccurate. So you don't sell and buy an NFT. It's much more complex than that. You have a token contract that you buy and sell. It's linked to a digital asset contract, which is going to typically be on a website, which is going to have all your more detailed terms, like are you assigning the copyright? Are you licensing the copyright? If there's a membership aspect to the token that's going to give you rights to get into an event or what have you, all of those terms have to be baked into this linked digital asset contract. It's linked, that link, the hyperlink, is placed right in the token, and it links out to a server that's either centralized or decentralized. It could be on the Google Cloud server. All right, so this linked digital asset contract is critical, often overlooked, but it's going to include the assignment or license of the image, video, or music file, membership terms, brand and IP protection, and where are you going to post this linked digital asset contract is going to be one of the key issues you've got to deal with, because the contract has to be there for literally forever, 1 billion years. That contract has to exist so that everyone knows what the contract terms are. So you could put it on your website, but what if there's a sale and an integration and a merger and acquisition? You're going to find that the interplanetary file system is a decentralized set of servers where you could post it in one place. It's not going to go into just one. It's going to go across all the decentralized file servers. So if 100 go down, there's still 10,000 where that contract will still exist. Brand NFT tip number 5. This is really interesting, and it's one that most people aren't thinking about at all, but I am, as a contract and technology and NFT attorney. It's how do we develop these contracts so that they can evolve? Because if you know anything about blockchain and NFTs and even crypto, is what's happening is these projects are starting out here and they're quickly going over there. The Bored Ape sale that became the Bored Ape Yacht Club, that became all these benefits, that became all these other opportunities, that became, oh, here's a token that allows you to unlock a mutant ape, which is also worth, oh, by the way, $1 million for free, right? All these things evolve. Well, contracts tend to not evolve. How do we build smart contracts that are not only immutable on the blockchain, but can be modified by one side or the other, or collaboratively? So look at when you put your NFT onto the blockchain, you're minting that token, but you're providing access. You could provide sometimes token access to your community, where if you have a token, you get to come to events, or you get to be a participate in certain things. And the NFT is a sub brand of your brand, but look at you need to be able to evolve that. And we're going to be talking as a major topic in the coming year, really, how do we build software code into smart contracts that allows you to evolve? What happens if the project owner wants to waive their rights to, for instance, Bored Ape Yacht Club bought CryptoPunks. CryptoPunks is a limited license that really precludes you from conducting commercial activity with the token you just paid $400,000 for. And was linked to the CryptoPunk. But now Bored Ape is going to say, we're going to modify those contracts, and we're going to allow those CryptoPunk owners to actually own outright. We're going to assign all rights in the CryptoPunk digital asset, in the image, to the owner. So big value bump, right? Well, how does that happen? How do you modify a contract? I'm not sure that Bored Ape Yacht Club knows how to do that, because their own contract is a bit of a mess. But look at the model has to be developed. We have to figure out how to do that, and brands are going to have an interest in this evolution of their project and the ability to modify contracts as they go. And I've got some really big ideas on that issue. So look at your brand NFT tip number 5. In order to evolve, you're going to have a team or a point person with accountability. We have seen brand NFT drops that did the drop and then went silent. Nothing after the drop. So people own these NFTs, they were promised a number of things, and nothing's happening. Well, you have to have communication. You need a Discord community, Twitter account. You need to be able to tell your community what's going to happen next, prepare them for, and then keep them engaged. Otherwise, you've really wasted the true value of your community building NFT. Whew. That was 5 tips. I'm the NFT lawyer. You can find me on YouTube. I just moved my old content on my old channel. I'm moving over to a new channel that's pure NFT law. And so we've got 10 subscribers as of today. Help me get more subscribers. You subscribe, share with friends. Let's build this community, because I want a discussion around the legal issues so that we together can solve them. So subscribe to the channel, ring the bell. You're going to find that you're going to get great content every week. We're going to talk about things, and then we're going to dig even deeper into them as time goes on. So there's no end to the valuable content that we hope to generate for you here. Comment below. Ask me questions below. I'm happy to answer them. My name is Enrico. I'm an attorney at Traverse Legal, traverselegal.com. There's my email address if you need to get a hold of me. Until next time, NFT on.